Howdy folks, Rudrose here, and today I'm going to be giving a quick recap of Gen Con, as well as going over some of the latest card reveals, as well as some of the cards that have been chosen for reprints. So for Gen Con, I don't have a whole lot to say. I was actually working a booth at the show. Perhaps I saw you there. I did get to see a couple of the content creators. But beyond that, because I was working most of it, I wasn't able to participate in like any of the panels or any of the reveals that people did. And I saw them, I would see it later on, whatever, Instagram, Facebook, etc., Discord. But I didn't get to participate in a lot of that. That being said, I did get to meet a couple people like Dan from Forbidden Mountain, ran into JDZ and Rebecca, but I mean, I kind of know them as well, Katie, all from ICL casting. But it was nice to meet Liam, and actually I'm going to put a post to he did like an Instagram mashup video. It's appropriate you see Goofy Movie on here, where he had a bunch of different content creators singing lines from, I believe it's the Eye to Eye song from Goofy Movie. It's been a long time since I've seen Goofy Movie. I need to rewatch it again. So I'll put a link in the description below if you care about that. But unfortunately, I didn't get to participate in a lot of the Gen Con stuff. But yeah, so that's that. I'm very tired, so I apologize for that chosen this video. And this microphone stand, unfortunately, has broken, so I'm kind of waiting for it to like teeter and fall away at any time. Hopefully that doesn't affect the sound quality of the video, and if it does, I apologize. And as far as a few future things, I still have to get that parody out that I've been working on. I think I'm finally getting over being sick, but I have another show I'm doing right now, so I've just been super booked, super busy. Was very exhausted from the Gen Con trip. And then the other thing is that I do have a spoiler coming out, and as you can know, because they've announced it, all the content creator spoilers are reprints, so I will have a reprinted card. But if you would like to see that, check back next Wednesday, which will be August 13th, I believe. Yeah, it'll be 12 noon Central Time, which is where I live, and you can see what my spoiler is. So with that, I just wanted to look over some of the latest card reveals. I really wanted to talk about the reprints, but I think I'll go through some of these as well. I'm not actually going to comment on all of these. Like this one, I'm just not going to comment on a card that's not fully there. So Little John seems solid if you have hero and villain, a hero deck you want to put him in, and a villain deck to go against. Other than that, he's uninkable, which that's never good. Oh, and one thing I will say about all these new cards and the reprints, I am approaching these with the context of what it's like to play in Reign of Jafar. So when I evaluate these, I'm evaluating them from a place of like, well, in the current meta, here's how I feel about that. Now, obviously, after rotation, a bunch of stuff's going to change. A lot of removal will be going away. So there's a lot of stuff that, if I'm sour on it now, very much could be better because the removal's worse off. But until I have the full set of the reprints, which I don't know why we're dragging this out, but until I have that set, I can't accurately talk about that. So just know that for context, I'm talking about this as if it were to come out now in Reign of Jafar, and it's obviously going to be different after rotation. Magic Feather. This is actually a fun design. I don't know if this will be good, but I like the design space of this, where you play it immediately. It's just permanent evasive. It actually kind of reminds me of, there's some FF cards that were backups, and they would do the same thing, where as long as it was on the field, it enchanted or it protected this thing. And Magic has that, right? They have enchantments. This is like the closest thing we have to an enchantment. So I really like this. And then you can bounce it later, which is great because it means if that character dies, it's not just an item that's stuck on the field. You can then replay it later to apply it to a new one, or even if that character's still around, you can bring it back. So I love this design. I think this is a really cool design space. So hopefully it ends up being good. Goofy. Move to a location. You may move to a location for free. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any locations worth playing unless they please bring back like Queen's Castle and Fang and stuff. So he'll just be dependent on whether there's locations worth playing. Obviously, power line shift for the bigger one. Lilo's pretty solid overall. The stats of a 1 cost, but it's basically mini Cricky, right? Without the big lore bonus. So it's a board-wide challenger. Not nearly as much as Cricky, not 3, but it's 2, which is still very solid. And then an additional power if you have an alien to power up, which obviously would work well with someone like Stitch hanging out there in the artwork. So yeah, this card just seems solid, especially if we are going to go into a format where everything's going to be more challenging character-based. That seems very strong. Pay 1 to return a song card with cost 3 or less. So I don't know what... Obviously, recursion is always pretty solid, and he's inkable. It'll just depend on what songs are worth using. Can't challenge. That could potentially be quite good in a aggro deck to help protect your stuff, although it can't be sung, so you are taking a turn off on a lot of ink to do that. A lot of these cantrips still just don't see a lot of play, so I'll be curious to see if this one shows up. Dumbo seems cracked, especially if there's less removal in the format. Now I will say I do think he needs to probably use his effect 2 times to make him worth it. Because let's say he uses effect, because the turn you play him he does nothing, right? 4 costs do nothing. Then if he sticks around a turn and you use his effect, you've essentially paid 5 ink to draw a card, gain lore. 5 ink to draw a card, gain 1 lore is like, that's okay. That's not amazing. However, if he sticks around and if he gives this to other characters, like that can super duper snowball. I can definitely see like an evasive package, and it clearly fits with the Timothy and the feather too. So yeah, and especially if there's less removal, Dumbo could absolutely be a menace. Seems like real potential. Timothy is probably my favorite character from that movie. It's been a long time since I've seen that film, and obviously works really well. You put Timothy on 2, whatever else on 3 or 1 would work well with Pascal if he was still around. And he becomes a Daisy Duck then. He becomes like an inkable Daisy Duck. So yeah, he seems solid. We'll see if princesses or queens are around. Does the Sensor Core stick around? Okay, Sensor Core is from set 5. So yeah, this will still work with Sensor Core. So maybe that'll be good. Eye to Eye. Each player draws 2 cards and gains 2 lore. If 2 or more, ready them. Like, obviously, if Powerline can sing it for free, that's pretty good. But it doesn't read great. Like, I don't know why I would want to give my opponents cards and lore. And we know Pirate's Life is reprinted for some god unknown reason. So like lore wise, I'm just going to use that. So this reads pretty bad, especially for how expensive it is. But maybe there's some broken combo I haven't seen with it. Dumbo works with the Timothy. And it's just, it's a shift line if there ends up being a shift Dumbo. Nick, during your turn, whenever one of your detective characters banishes another. Entirely depends on if there's detective characters worth playing. Minnie. It's nice to see repeated removal on a quest. That might be very potent, especially at least it's a way to answer Half Shark. But beyond that, yeah, this is a hard one to evaluate because, again, I don't know what the new removal is going to look like. And if Brawl is gone, this could really thrive. Granted, there also could be a lot of characters that just don't have this. Yeah, I don't know. This one could be I could see this either being a powerhouse or being like completely worthless. This one is a song, but it's not a cantrip. It's kind of weird it gets attack and evasive. Like, I guess that's good for dealing with a shark. That'd probably be its best use, is you can use it with a shark. Plays character whenever she quests, look at the topic, reveal. Okay, so again, just like the Nick Wilde, just entirely dependent on which detectives there are. If they're worth using. Powerline, I mean, singers are just always broken because singing's a dumb mechanic. However, he is, for everyone who's going gaga about this card, if you don't shift him, this might be another card like the old Robin Hood, that he's broken when you shift him, but when you don't shift him, he does nothing. Because if you don't shift this guy, you're paying 6 for nothing. And it's literally, because he is the one who has to sing the song, there's no way to get around that. There's no way. It's not like Shark, where it's like, well, technically you can play Shark for 6 and then use your remaining ink to cast a few actions and get some lore right away. Yeah, if you just play this guy for 6, he does nothing the turn you play him. And then you probably want to sing with him, so it's kind of nice he has 2 lore, but you won't need it. But I don't know. It's still free singing, and it's still a free song to sing, so he just sounds annoying, because singing is always annoying. Alice. It's so strange that blue is the color that, like, they keep giving the ability to get rid of items, but it's also the item deck. She seems okay. I mean, the stats of a 2 cost, that's not good, but at least she quests for 2. Good against... I could see this not seeing play, just especially if item decks die after rotation, just because she's so specific. So she's a challenger for evasives. So you can pay... so you'd have to discard and pay 5. Doesn't do anything when she comes down, but then she becomes a 6/7 that hits I mean, that's not terrible. It still trades with a shark, which is kind of bad, but... Again, if there's less removal, then maybe you'll need a card like this. So, yeah. Goofy set 10. Won't talk about him yet. That's character quest. Look top for you. I've yet to see a princess deck work. Will set 9 be the time it finally does? I guess we'll see, because they are bringing back that Moana. And then we go to set 8. So these are just the new cards. Okay, so let's jump to the reprints, as this is the part that I'm really curious about. Okay, I'm recording this close to midnight on August 5th. So this is just the most up-to-date list I have currently. I know more are going to keep coming in throughout the week, and I might do another one of these in the future if I have the time and it's not conflicting with other stuff. But for now, let's go what's in it. Stitch is fine. This one we've known about for a while. Maybe he'll get a chance to shine again with less removal. I always liked this card, but he obviously fell out of favor a long time ago. Okay, I was hoping to use this page because then I wouldn't have to click on the cards individually, but for some reason it's not loading. So I'm going to have to use this page instead. Queen is like, unless there's a better shift queen, this card's been completely replaced by Rhino. I don't know why they'd bring this back. Same with this Rapunzel. This card never saw play. I don't know why they're bringing this back. Tinkerbell is kind of a worse... Who did it make me think of? It has the stats of Daisy. It costs 4 at 4 and the stats of Daisy. Granted, it just helps you, doesn't potentially help your opponent, but just this card just seems terribly outdated at this point. And like there was 1 or 2 decks I think that ever ran it, but yeah, this card was never good. Moana, again, maybe if there's some princess deck that comes up, but this card barely saw play in set 1 and really never went beyond that. So there's so many of these reprints. It just confirmed all my fears about the game and rotation and where it's heading. Just like why? Like this. The villain theme has never taken off, and they need until they prove they're going to make a thing out of it. I don't believe them. I'm not going to just say, oh well, if they do a bunch of villains this time, well they didn't do it last time, so what's going to be different this time? So show me you're going to make a villain archetype that this queen is worth putting in. Otherwise, this is more wasted space. Stitches, I would have much rather seen Rapunzel. I do not understand the amount of hate Rapunzel got. I thought that was one of the most fair cards in the game. The fact that it was the most played Amber card. And it went in every Amber deck wasn't because it was broken. It was because most of the stuff is bad. Like Rapunzel is actually where the card should have been designed. That card is more than fair. Stitch is a more expensive Rapunzel and obviously has a different caveat, but it's card draw I got. Look at this family is like, whatever, who cares? Same with Heel has been hurt. These are both bad choices. Be Our Guest is fine. I actually think this one is okay. This of all the songs in the game, this one feels relatively fair. Mainly just because it helps you dig a little bit and it doesn't remove anything on your opponent's side. Removal on songs, I think, is really bad. And got Atlantica. If the Queen's Castle doesn't come back and we're stuck with this card, like, why? No one played with this card even when it was out. And, I mean, that's going to be a theme for a lot of these. Like, and it's just so expensive. There's no lore. So it has 0 benefit unless you move people to it. And then it counts for 2 to move them there. But we have all these cards that just have the singer keyword that just sing out, like, just terrible, terrible. And speaking of terrible, like, why? Why are we putting plain cards? And I'll get more into that in a later one. Elsa at least is, like, usable and blurple. And maybe she'll need to be in more purple decks now, too, if we're losing a bunch of stuff. So, like, she's fine. This one I'm okay with. Rose Lantern, what does this even do? Yeah, this never saw play. Maybe, again, if we lose all our removal, maybe we'll have to run a card that's as bad as this, which is really depressing. Especially since you have to pay 2 ink. So you have to pay 4 ink to do this once. This card's off. This card's off. I don't think even in this format, this card's going to play terrible. Poor Amethyst looking bad. Cusco was good only in set 1, and he just disappeared immediately after that. Granted, you could argue some of that's due to Fox, and if Fox doesn't come back, why are we even playing this game? But also, then maybe Cusco has a chance. Still, like, on turn 5, this still just feels very slow. So unless, like, a just-in-time deck comes back where you can cheat him in early, this card's just a big blank. Why? Prince Philip is just... This never saw any play. Again, are you going to make a hero theme? Are you going to actually make a deck worth running around heroes? Maybe then he'll see play. I mean, this one was cute for the combo, but can we even really do the combo now? Okay, this card. This is basically Honey Wizard, but just why? I frankly find it insulting that, and granted we haven't seen the whole list yet, so I might eat my words on some of these, but if we don't see cards like Chernobog's Followers and Friends on the Other Side, or the Magic Broom, the 1 cost from set 4, good, fair cards. No one was complaining about these cards. You know, of all the cards that should be banned in this game, no one was complaining about those. Those are good, solid cards that add fun and interesting mechanics to the game and are useful. And if we don't see those cards, if we don't see a single one of the Merlin Mim package, but this comes back, it's insulting. And no, because I've heard the argument out there, people saying, well, you got to have draft chat for draft and seal. No, you don't. No, you really don't. And there's a card coming up. I'm just going to skip to it right now to show that, no, actually, you don't. Where is she? Maid Marian. Maid Marian. This card's bad. No one ever used this card. But at least it has text. If you need to bring back cards for draft, bring back this. no one's ever going to play it with constructed, but at least it has text on it. Like, we should not be reprinting vanillas, bringing them back, using up valuable reprint slots for vanillas. At least make it something like this. It's just, ugh, freaking insulting. So obviously I don't like Verana, if that's how you even say her name. Tinkerbell's okay. I mean, this card saw very specific play in a very specific decks, but like John Silver is just blech. Why? This card barely saw play in set 1. Like, I understand not bringing Diablo back, even though I would have liked to have seen him come back. But, I mean, at least bring back the Ursula, the double singer. That card was both fair and unfair at the same time, but especially with more of the songs going, like, I don't know if that card would even be worth using, but John Silver, really? This is the Emerald Legendary. It just feels like somebody like had a hard on for set 1. It's like, well, let's bring back all those cards. This Aladdin, terrible, improvise. It's just, I mean, at least it cantrips itself, but just forgettable. Under the Sea is okay, but the main deck that made it work, which was the green-yellow Under the Sea discard deck, okay, unless most of that deck is now going to be gone, right? Unless it gets reprinted. Ariel, probably gone. Muses, gone. What else worked? Prince John, Diablo. The core parts of that deck are gone, so is Under the Sea even going to be worth playing? Maybe you have to run it in like Baja Blast so you can use the coil to take advantage of it, but this is an okay removal card. But again, when the main deck that enabled it is leaving, I don't know if this is even going to have a home anymore. Hidden Cove is coming back. Oh, this is new. I didn't see this. This is interesting. Okay, so I love this card, and I think this is a well-designed location, and I really like it. This does give me a little hope for Castle, even though they probably won't, because that would make me happy. The question is, will this see play without Diablo? And I don't think the answer is yes. Unless, because we're losing so much removal, that you just absolutely need every single point of damage and willpower to fight stuff and survive stuff. Because up until this point, this card has only seen play to protect Diablo. So without Diablo, will it stick around? I don't know. Shere Khan, like, I tried to make this card work so many times. This one's like, it's okay because I've always liked the idea of this card, but also it didn't see any play. It never saw any competitive play. Granted, it came out in a set with Fox and Merlin Mim, so maybe it was just always doomed. So I would love to see him actually see some play. Simba is just an aggro card, I guess. Kind of interesting they'd bring back the Ruby aggro. Surely that means they'll bring back some of the other aggros? Pinocchio, maybe? I don't know. Oh my god, this some of these I'm seeing for the first time. Are you kidding me? We're bringing back Maui Whale. No. Why? I mean, it's got text. Awful text, but it has text. Who is making these decisions, man? Like, God. Oh, my God. I can just, like, feel my interest in Lorcana just, like, draining live on the screen. And remember, folks, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to pretend I like something when I don't. If you want that, there's a lot of other channels out there that will just tell you everything's amazing, and you need to go to those channels because I'm just going to tell you the truth or what I actually feel. I'm not going to lie. Maleficent is like, this was always a cool card and a well sought after card. Granted, no deck even plays in it. Like, the only deck that could really afford to play this was Red Blue, and even it doesn't run it anymore. And Red Blue's still going to have Tamatoa as well as Half Shark. Will it have room for Maleficent? Maybe. Maybe if all the other removals leaving, they're losing Sisu, and they don't have manners and such. So maybe it will adapt to this. But yeah, I mean, this card's fine. Gaston is like, okay. This card had certain uses. I really hope that means they'll bring Flynn back, because he's actually a decent partner with Flynn. But other than that, like, he's just okay. Granted, if Storm Ray John is gone, maybe that makes him a little more viable. But yeah, he's okay. Queen of Hearts, I think this card's fun. I think this will help the Challenger deck. I like this card. This one's okay. This one, at least, this card has potential. So I'm not like over the moon about this coming back, but I think this is fine. This, again, over like Maui Whale, it's like, yes, okay, I can see the idea of bringing back Queen of Hearts. Lumiere, not so much. I mean, he's innocuous. He just bumps the rest of your board, but I don't know. I've never cared for this card. But again, He's fine. There are worse cards we could pick that we've already picked. Mulan, I think, is actually a very good choice. I think this card has always been very interesting, probably overly designed with the whole shift mechanic, but was always felt like a good payoff if you were willing to put in the work for it. And, again, if we're in a really lacking for removal in this format, this card might really shine. We might really see a lot of Mulan shift decks, so she could be a big deal. Pirate's Life, I don't like this card. I'm pretty against this coming back, especially with Shark sticking around. There's been a debate of like, well, you know, before Shark, this card didn't really see play. So really it's the combination with Shark. And I agree. And I've seen arguments too. Well, there's got to be good lore drain in the game, which I do agree and I don't. I don't know. It's kind of like lifelink in Magic. Like there are times lifelink just feels so insanely unfair because it's like I can barely get you for 20, let alone now I got to go to 37. And Lorcana has a similar thing. Sometimes it's so hard to get to 20, let alone actually you got to get to 26 because of Pirate's Life over and over again. I think if Pirate's Life maybe just took lore from you and didn't give them lore, it would feel a bit more fair. But again, with Shark, it becomes a 5 lore swing. You lose 2 and they gain 3, which is just bonkers. So if Shark wasn't around, I think I'd be more okay with saying this. Because again, part of it's just singing, right? Having a character sing this for free is obnoxious. If you have to pay for 6 for this, I have no issues with this card. I don't think it's very good, honestly, at that point. But, ugh. And Mufasa, just like Verana up above, just like, why? Genuinely, what is the point of bringing back this card? Who's going to be excited for this card? This card did not even see play in set 1. In set 1, it's just a body, and not even like a good body at that. A card I have to wait till turn 7 for it to do anything? I don't get it. Hades is a good choice, legitimately a good choice. People think maybe this will keep Blurple on top, and maybe it might keep it. It's good removal. I still think it'll get really hurt by losing Let It Go, assuming that doesn't pop up later. But Hades is at least a genuinely good card that still sees play. Aurora, I mean, this one barely saw play in set 1. Does Ward, here's the thing too, does Ward matter? If you're getting rid of most of the removal in the game, does Ward even matter? I'm not sure it does. As a matter of fact, I think that was a big reason why this card didn't see a lot of play in set 1. There really wasn't a lot of single target removal in that set. And she was so expensive that if you didn't shift her, by the time she'd come down, like a Maui could come in and whack her. Now, granted, if we don't have those rush beaters, which is a terrible mistake, but if we don't have them, then maybe she can't get taken out right away. But I think that was another reason why the Ward just didn't matter much. Well, there wasn't even a spot remove late, so like, what are you even protecting from? So I love the art on that card, so I would like to see it see play, but I'm not excited about that one. Maid Marian already touched on. Alice, I didn't realize this was coming back. And this is a card in set 2 I liked. Like, conceptually, I think this card's really cool. However, they have yet to make support a mechanic worth building around. Now, granted, if there's no brawl, maybe she'll find a little bit more of a home, but we have Human Sisu. This card will still die to Human Sisu. And if there's any version of a control deck with red, it's going to be running that Sisu, which means this card's just not going to do anything. Like, I mean, whatever. The Coconut Basket, too. Terrible. The Trumpeter's coming back. He got the downgrade. He's now super rare. Like, I mean, it never saw play then. Will it see play now? Probably not, because it still just has all the same issues and weaknesses. Even with less removal, this is a card that just says you get to do this one time and then it dies and it's uninkable. So just seems like a waste of space. Benja, I at least kind of get. So this is a card I at least understand. You have to have some kind of item removal. Granted, Benja's very weak, especially with Tamatoa. Even the 6-cost one just kind of invalidates any item breaking. I actually used this card against an item deck the other day. Broke the Maurice's Workshop the turn they played it, and they immediately just dropped Tamatoa and just pulled it back to hand. It's like, all right, well, that was a complete waste of time for my part. Robin Hood's like, okay, whatever. Tinkerbell, probably the best card they've reprinted. This card I've always had a soft spot for. It was good. It saw play for quite a while. I've even used it this set in my Steel Discard deck. It's a genuinely good card. Its stats are actually well-tuned for what it does. Obviously, they're bringing back the shift line for it, too, which they kind of have to do for some of these. Yeah, this is good. This is like one of the few cards I saw that was like, wow, that's a great choice. It is a great choice to bring back Tinkerbell. And again, if we have less removal, we're going to need her more than ever. Her shift line. Sonic Warrior with the downgrade, I don't know how good this card will be with a lot of the songs going away. So she'll be one to watch. Fire the Cannons is another very good choice. Just, very cheap, clean spot removal. Uninkable, but it's super low cost, so I like this choice. And Strength is, I don't know how to feel about Strength. On one hand, I don't think the songs were an issue if you had to pay for them. I think the mechanic of singing itself is the issue. So I actually think if you have to pay 3 for Strength or Storm, I actually thought those cards were fine. So, on one hand, it's okay, we need some removal, so I'm glad to see removal like Strength. I felt very conflicted when I saw Strength got revealed. And then on the other hand, it's oh, goody, Strength. That just means more singing, I get blasted away. But maybe it won't be as oppressive. So, yeah, I'm not 100% sure to feel about Strength. I'm both happy and not happy. Finally, some of the alternate arts, but I don't want to comment on these just because I don't know how they work. And if you know how they work, tell me in the comments below. So Cusco, he's clearly getting an epic alternate art, which doesn't even look that different. Okay, this is just the set 2 version, so I don't know what his actual alternate. I think it's just a little shinier. They showed it on the stream today, and I was very underwhelmed by how it looked. I don't know how hard it is going to be to pull some of these. Regardless, so if you know in the comments, let me know. If Cusco is an epic, is he only an epic, or does that also mean he'll be a normal card in set 9? That here it has him listed as 209 of 204. Does it mean that, actually he'll also be in the purple section? So if you know that, please let me know. Anyway, those are my thoughts on some of the reprints so far. Overall, mostly very, very disappointing, and just looks like the game's going in a direction I'm just not going to enjoy, and I'm going to have to really rethink what I want to do with my future with the game. But a few good choices here and there, so we'll see. Let me know what you think. Are there some cards I mentioned that you're super excited for, or are you also very disappointed by a lot of these choices? If you went to Gen Con, I hope you had a great time. And anything else, I appreciate you watching so much, and until next time, take care.